Liebert has position. She's on the button. She's got a fairly decent hand.
She calls.
Cairns in the small blind would get a discount, but doesn't want to play with a king deuce, nor does Galanis with a jack 3. Liebert with the best hand and the best position.
And now the flop, and Liebert has picked up another king. How do you like that?
Great flop, Kathy Liebert. Top pair, open-ended straight draw. She'll want to bet this for value, just in case Kenneth James has a diamond draw. Doesn't want to let him see it for free. And that will be the end of the 5-4.
Exactly, as James leaves it for Liebert to take, and all of a sudden, Kathy Liebert starting to work her way into this contest here, as she has gotten better cards and played them extremely well. Right now, we are going to take you outside for some bonus coverage where Jim Keating is all in against Billy Sukar.
And you might be wondering how an ace-deuce gets in an all-in confrontation against a pair of queens. Well, when you get short, Barry, and you see an ace, sometimes you got to... Oh, look at this! Oh, my goodness. And Keating has spiked 2 pair. Sukar's going to need a queen.
Does not get it here.
Well, a spade could work, too. A spade or a queen.
No. And so Keating has doubled up. And takes you back to the old saying, there's a Sukar born every minute. Back to our main table now. Sometimes you got to go for the cheap gag, you know?
You are very punny, Barry.
Ooh. Phil Matthews has stepped into the fray here at this table, and he's in some pretty high cotton with these players. Ooh, ace-king suited for James.
10-7.
10,700, the bet from James.
Now that's a more typical kind of raise. The blinds are 12 and 24, so Kenneth James has raised about 3 times the big blind.
Matthews not going to have anything to do with this. Cairns with an ace-6.
Very short, and he knows whatever hand he gets involved with could very well be his last, so he's looking for big tickets. Mr. Fitt, on the other hand, has more chips to play with, and he will put in the additional 8,300 to see a flop.
Here is the flop. King 4 deuce, and it helps James.
Now, the fact that there are no straight or flush draws out there at this moment could give Kenneth James room to sandbag and slow play. On the other hand, Jerry Fitt has a lot of chips to shoot at, and Kenneth James might want to try to build a sizable pot.
Well, it falls to Jerry Fitt now.
James has put in a reasonable 18,000 and change bet. Unfortunately, Jerry Fitt has no prospects.
Pretty good fold, I think, from Jerry Fitt, and Kenneth James will take what's there and be happy about it. So James wins this pot, and he still is amongst the chip leaders. We're coming back. Don't go away. Welcome back to the PartyPoker.com Aussie Millions. You know, when Michael and I visited the Crown Casino back in January 2006, had the distinct pleasure of dining at Silk's, Melbourne's finest Chinese restaurant. Silk's, a dining experience like no other. With great traditional Cantonese cuisine and impeccable service, this Chinese masterpiece fits in with the Crown appeal. The Asian-inspired design will transport you. Relax and enjoy a drink with friends in a grand Mongolian tent, or retire to one of the private rooms for an intimate meal. Offering stunning views of Melbourne, the main dining room at Silk's is the perfect backdrop for your authentic Cantonese cuisine experience. You're not going to want to miss Silk's in the Crown Towers. Matthews, Queen 9 suited, and not going to bother with it. Cairns just hasn't had anything to look at.
And he's been milking that short stack for some time.
Long time, huh?
Yeah, it looks like he really wants to make it into the money, and he's determined to not get involved until he's got some premium tickets.
I suspect Dio will get involved here.
Yeah, Phil Ivey, nobody showed strength in front of him, so he raises with a queen 7. Makes it 8,000. Mr. Dia with a pretty big hand could re-raise here or merely call because he does have position on the great champion. And let's give some respect to Jamil Dia. He is the reigning Aussie Million champion.
That's right.
Call.
Just calls. And that will get Phil Ivey guessing. James will get out of the way. Kathy Liebert, Jack 6. Forget about it. 2 players to the flop. And here is the flop. Pair of deuces and a jack.
No improvement for either player. Remember, Ivey initially showed strength and Dia merely called him. Dia has the luxury of superior position. He'll get to act second. Phil Ivey does what he's supposed to do here.
Call.
And a quick call from Dia. And there's an ace for Dia.
That ace of diamonds completes a flush draw. We know that neither player has diamonds, but as they study each other, that's got to be one of their concerns. Did that diamond help my opponent? Well, Phil Ivey's about to find out. That's a big 40,000 chip bet.
Causes Dia to think a little bit. I can't imagine he's going to go anywhere.
Yeah, I agree, Barry. This is a situation where Jamil Dia has a couple of viable options, and I don't think folding is one of them, obviously.
Call.
He calls. And
Wow.
King of diamonds. Really?
Man, that's a 4th diamond, so anyone who has a spare diamond laying around in his hand has a flush.
All in.
All in from Phil Ivey.
Phil Ivey bets his last 98,000 or so. This is a tough situation for Jamil Dia. That king gives Jamil Dia 2 pair, but what a scary board. 4 diamonds, a potential straight draw. Jamil Dia needs to reconstruct this hand and try to put his opponent, Phil Ivey, on a hand. He's got to decide. And I got to tell you, this looks very convincing that Phil Ivey has made a flush. Will Jamil Dia figure it out and eliminate one of our tournament favorites?
Find out. Welcome back to the PartyPoker.com Aussie Millions. Barry Tompkins, Michael Koenig alongside, and we have come to that point in this event where the line in the sand has been drawn, and it's been drawn by Phil Ivey. He has gone all in, and you and I, of course, know that Dia has what would be the winning hand, but the question is, what is Dia thinking?
Well, that is a scary board. If you're Jamil Dia, you're looking at that board, and you're looking at Phil Ivey, and you're thinking, what are the possibilities that the great Phil Ivey is bluffing here? I mean, all he needs is a stray diamond of any sort in his hand, a deuce, a stray deuce, the unlikely queen 10. I mean, there's a lot of ways that Jamil Dia's top 2 pair get beaten here. On the other hand, it's going to cost him about 98,000 to win 230,000, so he's getting about 2.4 to 1 on his call.
1 minute, Jamil.
Okay, the tournament director has just informed Jamil Dia that he has 1 minute to make his decision. If he does not act within that minute, his hand will be declared dead. Phil Ivey betraying nothing. Now, the one thing that Jamil Dia has going for him here is if he loses the hand, he knows he will still be in the tournament. It's a huge pot. And boy, he looks like he wants to call, Barry.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
If he does not act